Welcome to the Buck Brief, everybody. Let's talk about the U.S. and British strikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen. This is one of those moments where you got to hope that things don't start to spiral out of control in the Middle East. Now, it's a situation in Yemen that is an absolute disaster. You know, Yemen is the first country in the world that they think may completely run out of potable water to drink. So this is a country with an al-Qaeda element. It is a country in the midst of a civil war. There's been a long-standing Saudi bombing campaign, a lot of civilian deaths, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of civilians killed in recent years in the fighting in the fighting going on in Yemen. It's one of the poorest countries in the Middle East. Actually, maybe I think per capita the poorest country in the Middle East because it doesn't have really any oil. Very, very little in the way of natural resources. As I said, it's running out of water. And here's the situation. The U.S.-led coalition has launched a number of strikes on these Houthi rebel targets in Yemen. Why are the Houthis messing with us? Well, they're firing rockets at ships in the Red Sea. You got to think of the Arabian Peninsula. You know, you've got Saudi Arabia, and then you got these two pieces at the bottom of it. And to the southwest of the Saudi Peninsula, you got Yemen. Southeast, you got Oman. Oman got a lot more money than the Saudis do. Not than the Saudis. Than the Yemenis do. The Saudis got more money than pretty much anybody. But this is where the Yemenis are firing, or rather the Houthis are firing from Yemen into the waterway that takes them into the Red Sea. And, of course, Red Sea leads into the Sinai and Suez Canal. So this isn't on the Straits of Hormuz, which is an even bigger choke point, I think you could argue, for oil, although you got a lot of stuff that has to go through the Red Sea as well. Point here being that the Iranians are the ones backing the Houthis. And so to annoy us, to agitate and threaten us and the international community because of what's going on in Gaza right now, the Houthis are firing off missiles at ships. It's the kind of thing that you can't really ignore, right? So it's unsurprising, I would think, to anybody that this is where we're heading. But let's understand, you could have a disaster here pretty quickly, right? I mean, if you have the wrong ship gets hit, an oil tanker gets hit, they're firing off missiles. You don't have to have particularly advanced technology to hit a massive, slow-moving and defenseless target on the sea, like an oil tanker or a major, cargo shipping vessel. So this is something going on. By the way, Lloyd Austin apparently directed these airstrikes, we're told, from his hospital bed. So I want to point out that while this is going on, we are also getting a reminder of why was it such a big deal that the Secretary of Defense was MIA for a few days? Well, because of stuff like this, because there's the possibility that you may have to take immediate action in response to an aggressive threat on U.S. interests abroad. That's why you can't just disappear in the hospital. And even your deputy, as Secretary of Defense, the Deputy Secretary of Defense, doesn't know where you are. I think was on vacation, like in the Caribbean or something like that. So this matters. I don't think the Secretary of Defense is going to step down, I might add. For one, there's no accountability in the Biden administration. I mean, start with that. There's no accountability in the Biden administration. But beyond that, look, the truth is, he's the first black Secretary of Defense. We just had, and I know it's totally different. Oh, one's a university and one's the Department of Defense. And we just had the first black president of Harvard, black female president of Harvard, I believe the first black president of Harvard as well, step down because of incompetence and the issue of plagiarism and anti-Semitism. DEI and the perception in the public of DEI as just something that is a total good. No, there's no trade-off. There's no change in merit. There's no change in standards. That's having a rough moment right now. And I think the Secretary of Defense, as far as Democrats are concerned, stepping down because of this absence from the chain of command, given that Claudine Gay just stepped down from her position as president of Harvard, No way. There is no way the Secretary of Defense is going to step down. That's why when they asked at a recent White House press conference, they asked, here's John Kirby responding to this question.
President has made it clear. Secretary Austin is his defense secretary, will remain his defense secretary. He has full faith and confidence in Secretary Austin and his leadership. And that leadership, as we just talked about, was on display to everybody in the national security team as he in a hospital bed, still leading and commanding our forces in some dangerous missions here. I think we're all going to learn from this event here, the terms of the notification process and the transparency regarding the hospitalization. We'll all learn the right lessons from that, and we'll move on. But the defense secretary is going to stay in office. The president has full faith and confidence in him.
So, oh man, what's going to happen in the Middle East? I think, I've told you all along, if you listen to me either on radio or in this podcast, that the Saudis, that the Israelis, thinking of Yemen for a second there, the Israelis are going to do what they have to do for their own security, as they well should. And all this griping and provocation and madness from some corners of the Muslim world is likely to die down over time, because it's really not rooted. I think this is always important. It's really not rooted in specific Israeli actions. It's rooted in anti-Semitism. So that's always there. It might rise a little bit, and then it might, go back down to its usual level of anti-Semitism. But the reason they become so upset over what's going on in Gaza is because there are Jews involved, there are Israelis involved. That's why the Arab world, the Muslim world, throws a fit, and why the left in this country, I might add, also becomes particularly upset. So, that's something that I think everybody needs to just understand. This is how it's going to. I don't think there's going to be an escalation. I don't think Iran's going to start full-blown war, but it could happen. So we got to watch this area very closely. Look, this couldn't come at a better time in this country right now. As you know, a lot of our rights and freedoms are under assault. Well, I'm offering you something that you need to check out. It's a membership offer from a company called Patriot Defender that I've partnered with. I really believe in their mission, and I'm a Patriot Defender member. Because if you speak up at a school board meeting about vaccine mandates and you suffer consequences, guess what? Your legal defense is covered by Patriot Defender. If your right to free speech is denied, if you suffer consequences from it, if you use your Second Amendment rights to lawfully defend yourself, Patriot Defender has your back. We're talking about providing you assistance with any legal defense that you would need if your constitutional rights are violated and you are targeted by the forces of the left. This includes you, your business, your reputation, any weaponization of government entities. Patriot Defender has your back. Go to patriotdefender.com. That's patriotdefender.com. It's the only membership that goes beyond just defense for concealed carry weapons. patriotdefender.com will cover what others won't to protect you, your family, and your livelihood. Join me, become a member today. One more thing I got to tell you. One more thing I tell you about the legal, before you sign off for the weekend. I sign off for the weekend. Legal situation facing Trump right now. I'm at the point now where they've made such a mockery of the legal system to destroy Trump that I say this to you openly and honestly, because I want you to know where I'm coming from on all this. I no longer really care even the veracity even of some of these charges that they raise, like the document stuff. And to me, this is, and I mentioned this on radio recently, it's similar to the fruit of the poison tree doctrine. So, if a SWAT team without any probable cause and without a warrant smashes in the front door to your house and finds that you're running a meth cook operation there, you're not going to prison. Not under our Constitution, not under our laws, because they had no lawful right to break into your home. And we understand that there's even a higher principle here. The state cannot violate that, even if it means that someone who's cooking methamphetamine goes free and a whole bunch of other things. I've reached that point a while ago, but I've certainly reached it now with all these get Trump efforts from the lawfare perspective, the 4 criminal indictments against him. This is a mockery of the justice system. It's a mockery of the justice system. And so people are saying, oh, but what do you think about, could he have stopped the stopped the January 6th protests sooner? Or should he have given the documents back sooner? Or should he have listed, I'm going through the different cases here, should he have listed that he, made this payment to Stormy Daniels or whatever through the campaign? I don't care anymore. I don't care. First of all, I don't think I don't think he's guilty of these. I don't think they're criminal offenses, but put that aside. Even if they are right about what they're saying, I don't care, because what did we just find out about Georgia? Long meetings between the Georgia prosecutors and the White House. That's straight up lawfare collusion with his political opponent, with the regime, to try to take down Trump. I'm sorry. We have to stand against this stuff. We have to say enough is enough. And this is why I think Democrats have made a massive miscalculation about this. And that's why the polls for Trump are so strong right now. People see this for what it is. They understand what's going on here. All right, just for a moment, a word from our sponsor here, Tunnel to Towers, one of the most amazing and impressive organizations out there. So honored to be partnered with them. Born from a tragedy of 9/11, Tunnel to Towers Foundation has made a promise to make sure that we never forget America's heroes and their families. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Michael Hook, who lost his life in Iraq when his helicopter was shot down. Look, the foundation provided a paid-off mortgage. Tunnel to Towers provided a paid-off mortgage to U.S. Army Specialist Hook's family to relieve their financial burden after he lost his life fighting for his country. He died a hero, and Tunnel to Towers Foundation wasn't going to leave his family behind. They stepped up. The foundation helps Gold Star and fallen first responder families, as well as our nation's most severely injured heroes and homeless veterans. Join Tunnel to Towers on its mission to do good. America's heroes are counting on you. Join me in donating $11 a month at T2T.org. That's T2T.org. Tunnel to Towers Foundation. I donate every month. Clay donates every month. Please join us in this. It's a phenomenal organization, as I was saying. Look, we've got Iowa on Monday, so we're going to have a lot to talk about on this show and obviously on the radio show, so make sure you tune in. I will talk to you then. Shields high.